So today, something unusual. There's been a lot of interest in sort of the trips we're taking. So we're going to talk about the trip we just finished a couple days ago. Here's here's a map of the route to kind of orient you. This is Colorado state line. This is Utah over here. State line just off down here to New Mexico, and also we have a shared border with Oklahoma. Over here, Kansas and Nebraska and Wyoming. So this is a map of the area. Our house is a little bit north of Boulder. We started out driving through the city and then took a highway on the way to Golden, which is a really nice sort of isolated road. Then came up here and picked up State 285, one of my favorite roads in the world. And we're going over the mountains here, coming back down. And this particular spot, the first photos I'm going to show you are from this drop down. This is always spectacular. You're dropping into the San Luis Valley, which is between the Sangre de Cristo Mountains and the San Juan Mountains. And we're going to drive here quite a long ways down here to the sand dunes. And one of the interesting things about this area is being flat. There are long, straight roads, and I'll show you in a minute. Sometimes you get on a straight road and it's straight for 50 miles. This is all laid out in a grid. We take a hard turn to the east into the Great Sand Dunes Visitors Center. And we'll be looking at this interesting geological thing over here to Alamosa for the night. And these cities are like maybe 70, 80% Hispanic. This part of the country was part of Spain in the Treaty of Hidalgo in 1848. It became part of the U.S. And of course, like typically, we did lots of bad things to these people who own land here and so forth. Spent the night in Alamosa. Next day, we went to Pueblo first, but instead of going straight over, this is a highly recommended mountain pass that frankly was not that big a deal. It goes over 10,000 feet, which is not high for Colorado mountain passes. But I couldn't figure out why this thing was so highly rated and just a difficult thing to travel on, packed with snow and ice. But we were going the wrong direction on it. If you didn't know this, if you go this way, you're going, it's much more beautiful. Then over here into Trinidad, this is one of these typical Western mountain towns that's set up by the railroad. An interesting town. Poked around here. By the way, we charged the car here in Poncha Springs and charged the car here in Trinidad. This shot up here to Pueblo, spent the night here. The third day, we came through Cañon City, which is Spanish for canyon. And two things here, up through Colorado Springs, over to the Paint Mines Interpretive Trail, and we'll show you that. And then dirt roads through here, if you can believe this, not atypical for Colorado. And finally onto pavement and around the toll road to go around Denver, and got home on about dark on the third night. So that was the trip. So the plan was to go to these sand dunes, Trinidad, stop by there, do this mountain pass, come to Royal Gorge, which was the highest suspension bridge in the world for a while, the Painted Mines, then home. So that was 3 days, 2 nights. So let me see here. Why isn't it letting me go on? Hang on, let's see. This was the sunrise the morning we left. And I thought this was kind of cool. There's a picture of a contrail illuminated, and the sunrise. Somehow I've lost you guys. Let me see how to get you back. There we go. Okay. Won't let me do both.
We can see each other here.
There we go.
Yeah.
So this is coming down that first steep hill, coming down 285. This is always a spectacular view, but even better with the snow on the mountains. Again, can you see yourselves now? I can't see you now.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
Yeah. Works fine.
So this is going down 285. I don't know why you're not on my screen. Let me see.
And Charlie, I don't know if you were going to mention this, but for those of you that don't know, this is the way you would go to get to South Park.
Okay, good.
For those of you that enjoy the show.
Oh, really? The cartoon?
Yep. Yep. There's an actual city called South Park.
Okay.
And this is the way to it.
Hmm.
Looks like it's not gonna let, when I go to the full screen is when I lose it. Okay. So, all right. And this is the town of Fairplay. These are just little mountain towns,
Mhm.
beautiful mountains. So we're driving along and the speed limit on these roads is 65 miles an hour. And when you come to a town, you slow down to 50. So this is driving in the west.
Mhm.
And the typical town had two stores, a cannabis shop and a liquor shop, and that was it. And about every third town had some kind of little food store. So people here are mostly living on marijuana and alcohol.
Hmm.
Just, of course, in reality, these are much more impressive. This is what it kind of looks like. This is the valley that's flat and plains, and the mountains between the two mountain ranges. You can see lots and lots of plains. Usually we saw like a car every 5 minutes. This is the starting to get to the entrance of the Great Salt Dune. Little thing about the people used to live here. Little picture of the dunes. And about the Utes. So this area was primarily Ute land, maybe 5,000 years. And then the Navajo came in 1600. The Utes ran them off down to New Mexico. Then came the Spanish settlers, then the French trappers, and then in 1848 the Anglos.
Huh.
I thought this was kind of a cool shot. This old old piece of farm equipment. Lots of these buildings date from the 1880s. This is the sand dunes. We're about 20 miles away now.
Okay.
And this was for a long time. So Colorado in geologic years was a saltwater lake.
Hmm.
And so what happened is this saltwater lake gravel. So I was trying to think about this, and I don't think you can make sand without lapping water. Only place I know you normally see sand is at the beaches, and lakes don't typically have much, and even Chesapeake Bay doesn't have much sand. It's almost sand and mud.
That's right.
So this had minerals come down from the mountains over centuries, get into this saltwater lake, and then get lapped by the waves and made a ton of sand. This is the same place. These are the sand
Charlie,
dunes.
could you back up one picture?
Sure.
What is that in the foreground? Is that a bird or am I just an optical
That's a
illusion?
shadow, I think. That
No, not the very fore, but right in
No,
the middle of the
in the
picture.
front.
Yeah, in the front.
Yeah,
Ahead of the antelope or deer or whatever those things are. Looks like an owl or
It's-
something.
Yeah, I think it's an
yeah,
owl.
yeah,
That's quite a
Yeah.
picture, Charlie.
it is.
Can you enlarge that so we can see that bad boy? He looks like he's checking you out.
Yeah,
Look at that. Look at that.
good spotting,
That's an
Frank.
incredible photograph. I mean, people get Pulitzer prizes for these kinds of things. Look
Yeah,
at
they
that.
should highlight this.
Oh. And you had not noticed that?
This is a billboard, that's not my
Shit.
Oh,
photo.
it's a billboard.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you took the
I know.
picture. I see now.
Okay.
I got carried
Okay,
away.
that's fine.
I thought you saw those out the window and took it. I thought that was just the frame of your
No,
car.
no,
Okay, I'll
Frank,
change my mind.
Frank was busy with patent rights on the photo.
That's right. I was busy figuring out how to sell that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody already owns it. Now I'm disappointed. But
So
it's a hell of a
this,
picture. Yeah.
so this then became
Thank you.
a freshwater lake. And I think about the time of the same thing, this comet that hit the Earth 12,000 years ago. And there's basically three things. There's this Sabka, which is kind of a white mineral, the soda, the sand, and then the sand got, the prevailing wind blew the sand into this dune field over many, many years. So they were getting closer.
Hmm.
This covers 300 miles.
The sand dunes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why are they here?
Mhm.
So basically, this is the same thing. Here's the dune field. By the way, this main body is about 30 miles across. The sand goes much, much farther than this pile up here. And it kind of, the wind blew it kind of into this horseshoe here,
Mhm.
and it just accumulated. And the Junco took these the different kinds of dunes that are here.
Turns out the dunes on other planets are very similar to those.
This is interesting. This is taken 1873. And this is today, and the geology hasn't changed.
Hmm.
Junco likes manhole cover photos. This I never knew. This is the same kind of pine trees we have here. Native Americans trimmed this bark and made medicine with it. It's got lots of minerals in it. So you see trees like this around where they took this bark off and boiled it.
We know here in North Carolina is a Tar Heel state, and that's because those trees were used to basically make tar to put on the bottom of wooden boats.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
to keep the worms from eating them up back,
Yep.
in the early days. That's part of the settlement of North Carolina. So if you stop and think about what might be in tar, it's like oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very valuable. Interesting.
So this actually has a big water feature in the spring. Of course, you got lots of snow, lots of snow in the mountains. So this runs through with water for about I don't know, 2 or 3 months of this is all flooded. This area is all flooded,
Mhm.
and it turns out that you need the water and the wind all together to make this sand and make it pile up like this. And lots of wildlife living in here.
Mhm.
Getting closer now.
Gorgeous.
We took about an hour walk on a typical Colorado trail, which is rocky. These are aspens, which means this would be beautiful in the fall. And here's the trailhead, and the walk we took was just around. It's about a mile and a half. Rocky terrain, snow on the ground.
Hmm.
So this view is kind of amazing, constantly seeing the mountains in the background and the sand in the front. Little bridge. That's the tree, a tree that's been stripped off like this.
Mm.
Little stream running. Now from parking lot, you walk across what would be this flooded area, and you can sort of see remnants of what water's been through here. These are people's footprints. And the
What's that,
wind,
what's
Mhm.
that in the foreground in this one?
Yeah. Yeah. I was also wondering.
What is that?
just a stick with something
Looks-
on top.
Yeah, looks like something sitting on a stick.
Yep.
Oh, well.
It was really windy and cold here. So we walked across this. The wind doesn't blow enough to eradicate these footprints, and the water only comes in the spring, so all the footprints are there forever.
Hmm.
And the main thing people do is you go up these dunes and the people come with snowboards and these metal discs and they slide down. We climbed about halfway up one of these dunes. It was cold. We quit and went
Mhm.
back. Now we're driving away.
Very similar to Namibia, the dunes in Namibia.
Mhm. And we think that's also what Titan's gonna look like when we get a good close-up picture. Very similar.
We love this mountain.
Oh.
Now we're about 20 miles away again. You can see the plains, the dunes, and the mountains. This is a dinner at a Mexican restaurant.
Hmm.
Junko's having fajitas. I'm having enchiladas.
Looks great.
Please tell Junko she's just getting younger. I saw it 10 years ago. Do you realize it's 10 years ago, Charlie?
Wow.
Imagine.
Here's a photograph while I'm driving along. The blue line means I'm in autopilot,
Uh-huh.
and you can see the highway is dead straight. Next turn's in 50 miles.
Yes.
So
Well, you can take a
or
nap.
just shoot straight ahead for 50 miles.
It's like parts of Texas.
Probably so, yeah.
They all that straight, yeah, you drive forever and never make a turn.
Unbelievable. Yes. Unbelievable.
Some smoke from something. 80% of Colorado is publicly owned lands. Now we're heading up this mountain pass. Frozen Lake. These are the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. This runs almost this whole, I don't know, this whole part of the state. By the way, the name means the blood of Christ in Spanish. And it came from the fact that there was a friar or priest or somebody up here that the Indians murdered, Native Americans murdered. And as he was dying, he looked up and saw the sunrise come up over these mountains with a big red, like these winter sunrises we have. And he said, that's the blood of Christ, and died. So the name Sangre de Cristo came from that. This is the town of Trinidad. These towns are interesting. They had, they're founded typically, so the Intercontinental Railroad, I think, was about 1860. The railroad came through here about 1880. These towns sprung up. And Trinidad was a major brick manufacturing city with quite a lot of money from the sort of its founding until maybe 1930. And so these buildings, a lot of these date from 1880 to 1900, and they're unchanged. The city looks the same. Trinidad bricks. This was a sort of a mansion that was a museum built in 1882, and there it is, still standing. Now we've gone to Pueblo, and one of the things we wanted to see was the steel works. This was a major steel city, center for the country. And for example, they provided all the rail for the railroad, which means a ton of steel. And it was vertically integrated company. They owned the mines, they mined the ore, they brought it here, got the special bricks from Trinidad, built these kilns, made the steel in Bessemer furnaces. And so I really wanted this tour, and Google said they're open. We got there, nobody's there, and there's a walk around to the side. There's a piece of paper stapled on taped up on the door, closed until next Wednesday. So it's kind of part of the country where people just decide they're going to stop work and they stop. So this is Riverwalk in Pueblo. So all these cities try and find something to get tourists to come. For Boulder, it's the Pearl Street Mall. This is the Arkansas River, which has its headwaters near here. And as you can see, there's not much water. And it turns out it runs for like 3 blocks. It's not a big deal, but it's pleasant. They make bricks too. So production of steel starting in 1872, 4 years before Colorado statehood. Tens of thousands of Pueblo residents depended on the steel business. This is a kitchen of that era. This is a chuck wagon. This is, I'm sure you're familiar with this. These were hauled food for the cowboys running the cows around to the stockyards. This followed along, and it was basically just a big kitchen. So with the steel thing closed and another thing closed, late in the day, decided to go to the park. And this was kind of fun. You didn't expect this in Colorado. These are geese, of course. It's a city park in Pueblo. Ducks.
Looks like they decided to stay there.
I think so.
Yeah, that happens. You know, we had them at Goddard, and they just stayed there year round.
And they just ignored people. They went out and stood in front of the cars. People had to wait for them to move.
And they crap all over the place.
Yeah, I've never seen so many birds in one place.
Yeah.
Went to a Irish pub for dinner, and this was fun. Next day, we drove to Canaan City, and this is the entrance to what's called Skyline Drive. This is quite incredible. This is a road built by the CCC on top of a hogback. This is what it looks like. It's a one-way road, and pulled off to the side there. I never imagined you could drive on a hogback. This is kind of the layout of the area. It's a road where you want to pay attention.
Charlie, can I ask a question?
Sure.
When you were driving, were you concerned about where the next charger will be located? How your car is not performance, but rather, what is it called?
Long range.
Long range, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. The thing, you tell it where you want to go, and it plans the supercharger stops. But to answer your question, I've got to think about this. I've got to look and see that there's going to be a supercharger someplace, and it's the only place where it's an issue is in the middle of Wyoming. It's hard to go to the town of Cody without planning, but every place else that we've ever been, there's plenty of superchargers, and they charge the car fast. Typically, it'll tell you when you. So the way it works is it'll say, you know, it'll insert a supercharger in your route. And it'll tell you when you get there, how long you've got to charge it. And then it'll say on the screen, good to go, continue your route. So it'll often say like, charge it in maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And we just stop and we often just eat lunch in the car, eat beef jerky and stuff and sit there while it charges. Or it's also, most of the time there's a bathroom nearby. So it's a good thing to go to a hotel or restaurant and pee.
You ever have to wait on somebody to supercharge their car or is?
No, there's like, it shows you how many, I've never been to one that's even half full. They
Gotcha.
typically got like 8 chargers. The one that we went to in Colorado Springs, interesting. It's a 250 kilowatt and about half of them are 250 kilowatts and half are 150 kilowatts. And the car was down to 17% when I got there. It shows you on the screen how much energy you're gonna have when you get at your destination. So we like to have a 20% margin,
Mhm.
sort of just in case. That's 60 miles. So, and the things are like 99.8% reliable. And so that they work, they're there, and you plug your car in and it automatically reads your account and charges your credit card. You don't have to do anything, just plug the car in. And they're DC chargers. And it shows you on the screen the rate at which it's charging miles. And I've never seen this before. It's charging our car at 1,100 miles an hour. So
Charlie, do you carry an adapter so you could actually plug into a wall socket
Yeah.
or something like that?
yeah, I've
To
got
back
a,
up?
I've got an adapter for that, but I've also got adapters for the other company's chargers.
Yeah, that's great.
But
Okay.
but they're too slow, Frank. The supercharger is really high speed charging.
Yeah.
So usually we pull into one, plug the car in, get out, go take a pee someplace, come back, sit there for 5-10 minutes, and you're going again. So
Mhm.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I feel like I've been in the car with you here.
that's
This is great.
You don't
Now,
know if
this
that
is
is a
not,
ramp or if that is the road.
that's the road.
and you know, yeah, and does the car recognize this road? Is it a,
Oh, I don't let auto drive on this. Yeah.
yeah, right.
It started auto drive and I said, no, we're not gonna,
Yeah, that is a place I'd want to.
it can do it, but,
Okay.
I'd rather be in control with the car.
I got you.
Yeah.
If you mess up, you're dead. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
and looks similar. This is downtown, Cannon City. The same story, the residential areas were interesting, but all these towns had lots and lots of small houses. And they're typically, I asked the guy, I said, these mostly date from the early 1900s. This is, a lot of these towns sort of wanted to have prisons here because it's jobs. And
Yeah.
so, and again, this is territorial. This is built in 1871 and still functioning today. It's in operation. It's a medium security prison.
Mm-hmm.
This is now we like this so much we went back and drove it a second time. And this is the second trip up, and we stopped this time at these dinosaur footprints.
Mm-hmm.
These are common in Colorado everywhere. So when the dinosaurs walk and they compress the dirt, it makes it harder. So these are all remnants of footprints of dinosaurs compacting the dirt and then tilting it up over time. Don't forget, dinosaurs date from maybe 150 million to 60 million years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is this land was flat at night. This has been raised 90 degrees over time by the formation of the mountains. And there's the remnants of the footprints. A sign explaining this, but we've seen this a lot. We knew this.
Mm-hmm.
And strata. Back on the highway. I mean, if you were to drive over here, you're dead,
Mm-hmm. And it's one-way traffic's what you said, right?
Homemade traffic, yeah. Look at that, huh?
Hmm.
Amazing. Hmm.
These are two rangers stopping to fix something wrong with this thing. I don't know what it was. Most of this trip, there was nobody around anything. It was the
Mhm.
right time to go to Colorado. Another ride through downtown, you can see the sort of early 1900s, late 1800s style buildings.
Yeah, Charlie, I assume this is Make America Great Again area, right?
Probably so,
Yeah,
yeah. You know, I think these are people who had their jobs displaced probably by this globalization, so they're not, they're trying to survive. By the
Yeah.
way, there's the road up there.
hmm
Now we went to Royal Gorge. The whole point of coming to this part of the country was to go to these two sites. This is a visitor center at Royal Gorge. This was burned down in a fire maybe 30 years ago and all rebuilt. So here's the suspension bridge. You can see it here.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 feet down to the bottom. This is again the headwaters of the Arkansas River. And we're on a gondola now going over the thing.
Are they still doing bungee jumping off of that thing or?
No, there's no bungee jumping, but there's a thing where you get on a wire and fly across.
I got
You
you.
could get up on a tower and zoom across.
Yeah.
I think the problem is there's no way to get down from bungee jumping 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
But there's the river below, and that's a rail line, sort of a rail line for tourists.
Stunning.
This was the highest suspension bridge in the world for some years. This is a yurt. I saw several of these on the side of the road. I have no idea what these are for. I think I do. I think they're over hot springs typically. This little hot bath in there.
Yeah.
And look at this, there's nobody there but us.
hmm
I asked the lady about this. She said if you came in the middle of summer, it's a 3-hour ride, wait for the tram to go across. Just get in, they'll take you.
Now, is that a 2-lane road across that bridge or is it a walk?
It's not a road. It's
walk.
it can hold a car, but cars aren't allowed on it.
I got you.
It's a walking bridge.
hmm
This was rebuilt maybe 30 years ago, and these are the new suspension cables for it.
hmm
By the way, it was the idea was a Texan who wanted to do this. Guy came here from Texas and built this bridge. You can see the cables anchored into the
hmm
concrete back here. That's kind of fun being the only people here. A few people showed up later, but it was chilly. That's looking down. There's the train station and the railroad down there. This is some of the oldest rock in the world, however you date rock. It's metamorphic and igneous rock. I have no idea how you get down to the train station, but I guess there's a way to do it.
Or up from it if it's a station.
Right.
Yeah, let me stop here and climb
That's
it.
right. There's the cable cars we went on. It's the longest single suspension cable car in the world, I think. It's very unusual. So at ski areas, there'd be pylons every
hmm
so often. And of course, they pass back and forth as they go.
Hmm.
There's the main cable. And I think these lines are for this thing where you ride like on just a pulley, but we didn't do that. I'm not interested.
Mhm.
Nah,
Junko took this picture. I thought this was funny. No fishing from the bridge. So 1,000 feet of line you have to put out to fish.
What that bothered, you think somebody's either got a sense of humor, but
Yeah,
non-human,
I think it had to be a
somebody
joke.
tried that.
You know, it had to be a joke.
Well, you'd hope it is, but
Yeah.
you know, you read the instructions on a lot of things you get, and you go, that somebody must have done that.
Yeah, somebody must have.
Somebody must
Interesting,
have
this
done that.
cable's, you know, it's just held on with a simple fastener like this to hold the thing up. Again, the train station, a better view.
Hmm.
And so, like we looked at before, when you see this, they call this painted rock, but what this is, this white rock is lava. So this is typically metamorphic rock, this gray rock, maybe it's schist or granite.
Mhm.
And lava came through here at some point, a long time ago, and then it got tilted up.
Hmm.
These are stunning pictures.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was really fun. I didn't expect this to be there by ourselves, basically.
Mhm.
You can sort of see it's just steel with big wooden deck planks on it.
Did you try to walk across it or do?
Oh, yeah, we
just-
walked across, yeah,
You did, okay.
yeah.
I
So
thought maybe those
we took
photos were
we
from
took the
gondola.
cable car over and walked back on the bridge.
Ah, got you.
So here's the guy, early history,
Mhm.
1878, there was a big fight between two railroad companies. And world's highest suspension bridge spanning 1,000 feet below, built in 1929.
Oh,
So that when they rebuilt the bridge, this is the original cables here. About 20 years ago, they rebuilt it with more modern, newer steel. But there's the original cable. It was corroding.
Mhm.
And this was something I didn't expect, that these are angled back. So it looks to me like for whatever reason, these have an angle to them, maybe trying to make the pull perpendicular on this catenary, this cable.
Hmm.
An old clock, water-powered clock. The train is everything out here. The railroad brought these towns to existence. Now we've gone to the other side of, we've driven now, we stopped in Colorado Springs at a charger. And the car was about 20% when we got here. And it charged it in 15, 20 minutes up to, I think, 75, 80%. And we had a 20% margin to get home. So it's on the screen. It shows me that when the way you do this is you put in, at this point, you put in the destination's home. You go to the bottom, it lets you enter intermediate stops in. So we put this in as an intermediate stop and adjust it so you can see on the screen, when you get back to your home, you're going to have this much energy. When you get to this spot, you have this much energy. And so what we did is we could have continued the route after 5 minutes. We would have had to stop at another charger someplace. So as it charges, the screen changes and it says, now it shows you what you can go all the way home.
Mhm.
And a little thing comes up and says, continue your trip now if you want. So the calculations are all done. This is something that, I never heard of this place. This is about, 30 miles east of, Colorado Springs. And it's kind of a funny name, Paint Mines. And what it's about is that the colored, rock here was, harvested by Native Americans to, dye fabrics and things with, and war
Mhm.
paint and all that. Here's kind of a map of the place. And this is what it looked like, but by now, the thing's predicting we're not gonna get home till 6 o'clock at night, and I don't like driving in the dark much. So I
Mhm.
kind of went to this overlook, and you can see here's some red paint in here, red ore. Orange or a yellowish ore, red ore. Um, This runs for maybe, 3 or 4 miles. There's a
Uh,
whole bunch of hikes you could do in here. I had no idea what this was about, so
I see people walking out there, yeah. Is that what that is?
Hmm.
I don't know, Frank.
I was just looking in the middle of the picture again. Right there.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
looks like three or four people out there
That's right.
right in the middle of it, just a little to the
Oh,
right.
yeah, sure
Right
enough.
there.
Yeah, there's
That's
somebody
what it
there.
looks like.
Yeah, there's people
That must be
walking
one of
down
the
in there.
trails.
So if I had known what this was like, I probably wouldn't have stopped on this trip. I probably would have come back here for half a day.
Mm-hmm.
There's parts of it that are the ancient parts and probably a lot of instructive information about this. But I just didn't know, so I've been wanting to come here, and it's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from home. And it's just far enough that you almost want to stay overnight rather than,
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything like this in Colorado anyway.
You may have already said this, but what's the reason for the different colors? Was there a simple? Um, Obviously, it's the chemistry of the.
Yeah, it's just different minerals.
Different minerals doing it.
But this is not usual in Colorado, so I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
That if I had more time, we could have. This is a dirt road. Look at this.
Mm.
We're driving on dirt for maybe 30 miles, which is the county roads out. Well, this out here in the plains, there's nobody here. So
Mhm.
and now we're heading we're on the E-470 tollway circling Denver, and Junko took these pictures of the night sky, the sunset sky. Beautiful. And there it is.
Great.
Did you enjoy it? Was it good?
Yep.
It was quite an
Absolutely.
adventure.
I like seeing those old towns, you know, that look like they're frozen in time. That's like the
Yeah.
place I grew up in North Carolina. It looks exactly the same as
Okay.
it did, 60, 70 years ago, and probably even long before that.